Testing.
Hey, good evening, everybody. Welcome. My name's Abhay Rane. I am the college registrar. It's my privilege to be the first guy to welcome you to this ceremony. Hope you're all having a good time. See lots of smiling faces. Just a little bit of housekeeping. Sarah's our membership engagement manager. She will run you through how the ceremony is going to work, what you have to do, more importantly, what you don't have to do. And then I'll wrap up at the end. Sarah?
Thanks, Abby. Yeah, I'm just going to run through a couple of quick things for you so that you know what's happening tonight, and then we'll get to the actual fun part for you, the actual ceremony where you're going to be presented. So congratulations again to everybody and welcome. It's great to see you all here this evening. So the running order is we will ask you to be upstanding if you can for the procession that will come in. The President will lead the procession behind the mace. They will come in and they will take their seats. We will then have an honorary fellow presentation where there will be a citation and they'll sign the book. We will then invite our registrar back up and he will start the proceedings of reading out all of your names and you getting to celebrate this special occasion. At that point, I will probably be asking you row by row to stand up, and if I can just point out that you would be lining up along this wall here, and then you will come across the stage, you will shake hands with the President, you will then receive your scroll of attendance certificate from the Vice President or Dean of your corresponding faculty. There will be a photographer who will be standing roughly where Hannah is at the moment, if Hannah can wave, and they will be taking a picture of you doing the handshake when you get your scroll, so make sure you look that way and smile, so that's available. Then when you're coming back, if I can ask you to come back to your seat via the middle row, don't try and sneak up the side there, that would be fabulous. The President will then do his address to all of our new fellows and members as well, and then that will be the end of the official proceedings. The procession will then exit back behind the mace with the President leading that, and you will go back down. So just a couple of things. There are not any anticipated fire alarms happening, so if a fire alarm does go off, this is the fire exit just over here, if I can ask everyone to make their way over to that. And then can I do the normal, can you all please make sure that your mobile phones are on silent so that there's no disruptions, please. You will also note that we did have a family room downstairs, which is still available if anybody wants to leave at any point throughout the room. There will be a live stream of the whole ceremony happening downstairs, so if you do leave, you're not going to miss anything. And on cue, this is our lovely Eden Ravenscroft photographer who will, as I say, if you can turn and smile at him as you're getting that handshake, that just makes a lovely photo for you that you can purchase after the event. So you'll be pleased to know that that's our bit done. I'm going to stop talking and we're going to actually get moving on. So if I can just ask you to remain seated for the next few minutes, we'll then get proceedings underway, and congratulations again.
Just wrap up. Yeah, thanks, Sarah. Well, the bottom line is have fun. You've worked very hard, and the people behind you have also worked very hard. So make this an occasion to celebrate, and we'll celebrate with you. We'll all be clapping very, very loudly for all of you. So well done, congratulations. And the ceremony will start in about 5 minutes, okay?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome. Please take a seat. My name is McKirdy, and I have the great honour and privilege of being the President of the Royal College of Physicians and Surgeons of Glasgow. And I want to welcome you all to the college, to this room, the College Hall, an extension to the building you've been enjoying this afternoon, created in 1888 as a place for the college to hold diploma and admission ceremonies, as we're doing this evening, as a place for the college council traditionally in the past to meet, although this afternoon's meeting was held downstairs in a much more modern room because everybody joins us online these days rather than sitting around a big table in this room. And it's a very important part of the heritage of the college, which we are welcoming all of you in these colourful academic gowns into the fellowship of the college today as our new members and fellows. So a very warm welcome. The college was founded in the year 1599 by one of the gentlemen commemorated here on my left, Mr. Peter Lowe, who was born in Glasgow in about the year 1550. We don't know precisely where he was born or his precise year of birth, but we do know that he travelled to Paris to take part in the wars of religion, as they were called, between France and Spain at that time. And he followed Hippocrates' maxim that if you wanted to learn surgery, you should go to war. And so he learned the art and craft of surgery there, and he returned home to his hometown here in Glasgow in about 1597 and was pretty appalled by the standards of medical and surgical practice that he witnessed at that time, because what he'd been part of in France was very codified, a structure for the practice of medicine and surgery, and he thought it would be a good idea that we had an institution here in Glasgow that delivered that same kind of structure, that set standards and agreed on how medicine and surgery should be practiced. At that time, that was just here in the west of Scotland. But over time, the college became a national and an international organisation, and we now have 16,000 fellows and members in over 100 countries across the world. And there are, amongst you this evening, 13 different countries represented, from North America through the UK to the Middle East, the Far East, and of course South Asia. And another portrait I want to point out to you with particular pride, because I think this is the first admission ceremony we've held, and you don't all need to turn around, but before you leave, the lady in the very far away corner is Jamini Sen. And I'm particularly pleased that her portrait is hanging on the wall this evening, because she was the first ever female fellow of our college, admitted in 1912. She was from Bengal. She gained her medical qualifications in Calcutta, and she then practiced in Nepal and in Ireland, and she became the first female fellow by doing what all of you have done, is by passing the exam. Because other people had applied to become the first female fellow, but they had been turned down. But because she'd passed the exam, they had to allow her in. And one of our strong supporters, over my right shoulder here, was Sir William McEwen. I hope you've been enjoying the exhibition downstairs about McEwen, a huge influence in 19th and early 20th century surgery, who died 100 years ago today, and who was the founder of aseptic surgery, the first person to operate inside the head. And one last piece of heritage which we've been celebrating this year is the gentleman here in this corner, Sir Graham Teasdale, one of my predecessors as the president of the college, who, with his colleague Brian Jeanette, described the Glasgow Coma Scale. Sir Graham is the only person on these walls who's alive today, I'm delighted to say, and he was here in June to celebrate the 50th anniversary of the publication of the Glasgow Coma Scale, which is used in every single institution across the world where people are looked after when they're unconscious. So a great gift from Glasgow and from this college to the world. Our heritage is very important to us, but so is our spirit as a college, which is also captured in one of our two mottos here, Conjurata Amici, which is together in friendship. And I hope that you will, particularly our new fellows and members, sitting in these front rows with your academic gowns, feel welcome, not just to the historical heritage of our college, but to the live, functioning institution that we are today, about which I'll say a few words later on after you've received your diplomas. But first of all, before we get to all of you, we are going to, as we usually do at a diploma ceremony, recognise somebody who has made an outstanding contribution over and above what one might expect of a fellow or member of the college. And so I'm going to ask Richard Hull Vice President Medical, to come to the podium, and Professor Mark Allison to come and join me here in the centre of the hall.
Mr. President, it's a pleasure to recommend Professor Mark Allison for Honorary Fellowship of the Royal College of Physicians and Surgeons of Glasgow. Honorary Fellowship is the highest honour the college can bestow. It's unusual for the college to make this award to individuals who are not medically or dentally qualified. They have to have excelled in their own field or have to have given service to the college itself. I believe Mark Allison fulfills both these criteria. Mark was born and educated in Dumfries. He later went to the University of Edinburgh, reading accountancy and economics. He gained a Master of Arts joint honours degree in 1984. He was an audit trainee with the accountancy firm KPMG, and he became a chartered accountant with the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Scotland in 1987. He was subsequently appointed to various positions within the Institute itself in teaching, education and policy roles. He was Executive Director of Education from 1998 to 2020, and he remains a consultant. Mark has had roles in education, assessment, and as a regulator in the accountancy profession. He has a national and international lead in the field, delivering successful strategies, supporting companies, but importantly, balancing the public interest with those of members. Within the UK, he has developed ICAS into a UK-wide educator and assessment organisation, both increasing the student intake and doubling its overall membership. He has worked with the accountancy firms Ernst & Young and KPMG and the universities of Lancaster, Exeter and Birmingham to produce 3 innovative work-based degree programmes. With KPMG, he created a new UK tax qualification, the first in 50 years. In 2017, the CA qualification was mutually recognised with similar qualifications in the United States. Internationally, he was a technical advisor and designer of the global international accountancy education standards, later chairing the group, which led to regulation of standards for pre- and post-qualification accountants worldwide. He's been a chair or a member of various international bodies updating education, examination, reciprocity, and recognition. There is no doubt in his professional life he has been innovative and inspirational while maintaining standards and fairness to the public, employers, and students. This has required him to make personal relationships at national and international levels with many individuals from various backgrounds. He's worked with the UK Financial Reporting Council, the Scottish Credits and Qualification Network, and international reviews. He is a public member of the Board of Quality Assurance Scotland. He has done international consultancy for professional accountancy organisations in South Africa and Canada, and via the UK Financial Reporting Council in New Zealand, Australia, Switzerland and South Africa. He is an external examiner for the Edinburgh University Law School and a visiting professor at Robert Gordon's University in Aberdeen. He is chair of the Oversight Committee of Professional Accountancy Europe. Let us turn to his work with the college. He's been involved in the college for over 10 years. This has not been an easy period for the college with the national financial crises and the COVID pandemic. He's given the college wise counsel and has the ability to make sound conclusions, sometimes telling us harsh realities, but always in a pleasant, professional manner. As we're about to celebrate our 425th year of our founding, he's keen to remind us of our charitable origins and that even in today's environment, we must hold true to those origins and values. He's been chair of our Finance, Audit and Risk Committee. was the first lay trustee with membership of our Executive Board and College Council from 2022 to 2024, and chair of the Audit and Risk Committee from 2022 to 2024. As he demits from office after 10 years, it is right and fair that we mark this appropriately. A final criterion, perhaps an unwritten criterion for honorary fellowship, is that by appointing someone to the fellowship, they should increase and enhance the reputation of the college itself. I believe this is the case here. Mr. President, I'd be grateful if you admit Professor Mark Allison as an honorary fellow of the Royal College of Physicians and Surgeons of Glasgow.
Mark, using the powers invested in me by the Council of the Royal College of Physicians and Surgeons of Glasgow, I'm delighted to admit you as an honorary fellow of our college. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now can I ask the College Registrar, Professor Abby Rani, to come to the podium and administer the Oath of Allegiance. Abby.
Thank you, President. May I request all present to stand? Do you solemnly and sincerely declare that you will be faithful fellows and members of the college, obey all laws, regulations, and bylaws made and to be made by the college, and will do nothing which, in the opinion of the college, is prejudicial to the interest of or derogatory to the honor of the college or of your profession? Please be seated. Thank you. May I now invite Dr. Richard Hull, Vice President Medical, to present the diplomas to new medical fellows and members, starting with FRCP Glas, Fellowship Qua Physician, Khalid Abdul Wahid Al-Qatari. MG Azam. SM Mahmood. Iftikhar Haider Naqvi. Nandakumar Pesharam. We move on to MRCP Glasgow, Iza Arisika Abdul Rahim. Ahmed Mahmoud El-Stawi El-Gahi. Judith Oguguo. MRC PSG, David Ejibe. MRCP UK, Alexander Byron Miller. Rilwan Mohammed. Jordan Zenyang To. Tuan Yao Te. May I now invite Mr. John Camilleri Brennan, Vice President Surgical, to present the diplomas to all new surgical fellows and members, starting with FRCS Glas, Sameh Mohammed Abdul Khair. Welcome. Gaurav Chaudhary. Anwar Martha Hamid. FRCS Glas by election, starting with Mohammed Alam. Very special welcome to Brendan Carr. And to Anshuman Verinder Kapoor. FRCS Ophthalmology, Glasgow, Divya Alex. David J. Matthew. Gunjan Saluja. Jean-Marc Samuel Suku. MRCS Glasgow, Camila Ignacia Hidalgo Salinas. Neil Daniel Muscat. Gaushikan Navanesan. Bajek Sen. Now we have MRCS Ophthalmology, Glasgow, Doa Mohammed Karim Ahmed Mohammed Aki. Thank you. May I now invite Professor Christine Goodall, Vice President Dental, to present the diplomas to all new dental fellows and members, starting with M.Orth, RCPSG, Glasgow, Orthodontics, Ahmed Mohammed Ismail Said Abu Sen. Nivedita Bhaskar. Ahmed Ibrahim El-Gendi. Mahmoud Kader. Now we move on to oral surgery, M-Oral Surgery, RCPS Glasgow, Callum Andrew Weems. Gareth Elias. Thank you, Christy. Now may I invite Dr. Sam Allen from the Faculty of Travel Medicine to give the diploma of the Faculty of Travel Medicine Fellowship, FFTM, RCPSG, to Ralph Nirven Kumar Marappan. President, that concludes the diploma ceremony. May I ask you to give the address?
Thanks very much, Abby. A mouthful of water. Let everybody get their seats. So welcome, all of you new diplomats, to the college family. It is wonderful to see so many of you here this evening. I always find it quite emotional, these ceremonies, because I received my diploma of fellowship in this room on the 3rd of December 1991. And I came up from London, and I remember meeting my mum and dad at Central Station and making our way up here. And there are 2 photographs in that evening, because nobody had phones in those days to take photographs. It was an old-fashioned camera that you had to wind on. And there's one photograph of me in this corner with my dad, taken by my mum. And there's one photograph of me with my mum, taken by my dad. We should really have asked somebody to take another photograph. There's 3 of us together. As the registrar read out your names and you came up onto this stage, the front of the hall here this evening, everybody applauded. And so they should have, because you have done very well, all of you. You've achieved a high bar by sitting examinations, proving your worth and your curriculum vitae to be admitted as members and fellows of the college. So you deserve our congratulations, because you didn't need to do this. You all have a primary medical or dental qualification. You didn't need to put yourself through this. But you did, and you submitted yourself to trial by the examiners, whether in multiple choice papers, objective structured clinical examinations, OSCEs, ESSEs, whatever we've asked you to do, you've achieved that. And that's a tremendous thing. To come home from a busy day at work, turn on a desk lamp, sit down and have the discipline to study and prepare for these extremely difficult qualifications is a terrific achievement. So well done, and you deserved our applause and congratulations this evening. But I would suggest there are some other people, and they were all quite quick actually to start to clap, who also deserve our acknowledgement this evening. They're sitting up here at the back. They're not resplendent in academic gowns, but many of them have scrubbed up pretty well nonetheless, and they're looking quite good. And they're not clutching brand new diplomas, although some of them are maybe holding your children, trying to get them to be quiet during this evening's ceremony. And they are all of your supporters behind you here. Mums and dads, brothers, sisters, partners, spouses, without whose support you wouldn't be in these seats this evening. So in what's become a good tradition of our college, can I ask you to join me in thanking all of them by giving them a round of applause? So these Royal Colleges, you've just become a fellow or a member of the Royal College of Physicians and Surgeons of Glasgow. What are Royal Colleges about? Well, there are 24 Royal Colleges and faculties in the UK and Ireland. Some of them, like ourselves, are ancient and date their history back to the setting of standards in the Middle Ages. Some of them are much more recent, founded within the last 50 or 60 years, as medicine has developed and developed new specialties. What we know about colleges is that their primary purpose is to set standards, and those standards are represented by our examinations, and only to admit those to the fellowship of the college who've achieved that standard. Some colleges are unidisciplinary, so the Royal College of Psychiatrists deals with psychiatry, the Royal College of Anaesthetists deals with anaesthetics, and so on. Our college is very proud to be multidisciplinary, to have physicians and surgeons and dentists and experts in travel medicine and podiatric medicine. And that makes us pretty unique in that family of 24 Royal Colleges and faculties in the UK, because we are multidisciplinary. So all of you who practice medicine and dentistry know that our clinical practice has to be multidisciplinary, whether that's as somebody in my field who's an expertise in breast cancer. I couldn't do my job without radiologists and pathologists and specialist nurses and so on. And that comes all the way through all of our endeavour in medicine and dentistry and all parts of healthcare. We have to work in teams. And so our college is very proud to be a multidisciplinary college, and we are able to bring all of that expertise round the college table in our endeavours and in our work. As I say, principally, that's about setting standards by assessment and examination, but also about education and helping you and supporting you in your careers through continued professional development. Because I'm sorry to disappoint you, but receiving this diploma doesn't mean that's the end of learning for your lifetime. You know that only too well. Because the pace of medical knowledge and expertise is just moving forward so quickly all the time. And one of the college's main roles is to support you in your careers by providing you with the education and the materials that you require to practice well and to continue to practice well until you get to my late stage of career, touching distance to retirement. As well as those roles, though, the college also has a voice to speak out publicly about matters which are of concern to us as the college, and that means matters that are of concern to you as our fellows and members. And we check that out every now and again by asking you, and now that you are fellows and members, you'll be part of our surveys and be in my inbox, in the inbox of my successor, Professor Hani Atiba, who's sitting to my right here, who will become the president on the 6th of December. And you will let us know about the matters which are important to you. And over recent years, that's led to us talking about, for example, environmental sustainability and climate change. Sometimes you might think, well, that's a strange thing for a Royal College of Physicians and Surgeons of Glasgow to talk about. But actually, air pollution is one of the biggest killers in the world today. About 7 million people die every year because of the consequences of air pollution. We've just witnessed over the last few months a devastating weather events which have led to the traumatic loss of life. And we know that we in healthcare produce quite a bit of carbon, 4% here in the UK. In those countries where air cooling is required for hospital buildings, that figure goes up to perhaps 12% of a nation's carbon footprint is produced by the delivery of healthcare. And so what we've done as a college community is come together and through working with others begun to provide roadmaps and guidance for all of you in practice, in whatever branch of medicine you are, how you can reduce and help reduce the carbon footprint of healthcare. Particularly important for those of us with a surgical practice because 2/3 of the output is from the operating theatre. And many of you will have witnessed the disposal of things which could perfectly easily be used again, or the production materials that we don't need at all, and the inappropriate use of energy. And we had here in the college last Monday all of the surgical colleges in the UK and Ireland together with all the specialty associations to talk about just that. How can we, as surgeons, practice in a more environmentally sustainable way? We've also been talking in recent years about health inequalities, which means the discrepancy between those in our society who have the least and those who have the most, which if we measure it in terms of life expectancy for women is about 8 to 10 years, men perhaps a little less. In healthy life years, between our poorest 10% of our population and our richest, is about 19 years of life, healthy life. Not all of that is our responsibility as healthcare practitioners because the delivery of healthcare services makes up a little bit of that gap. Much more of it is about safe housing and safe communities, about education, about fair employment, about purpose in life. And we have been speaking out about that, again with our fellow colleges across the UK, to try and lobby this new government to turn some attention to that matter here in the UK, which we know in many other parts of the world is an even more clamant issue. And related, strangely, to both of these is the question that we're going to consider next month at the President's Conference, which is obesity. In the Middle Ages, at the time of Peter Lowe, to be obese was to be very wealthy, because you had to have the means to become obese. So many of you will know the Holborn portrait of King Edward VIII, who was a very fat man because he had the means to become fat. These days, very tragically, the most overweight people in our community are the poorest because they're eating diets which are not healthy diets. And we know that 2/3 of us are thereby in the UK are overweight or obese, and yet we need to do something about that because that is creating ill health at scale and it's worsening that divide between those who are richest and poorest. So these are three public issues, and I haven't made them up. They are the themes of the last three President conferences when I've been in post, but they've come from you, our fellows and members, telling us that these are things that you would like us to speak about. These are things that you would like us to share learning within the college community. So we've been doing that. And I would encourage all of you this evening to think about how you might be further involved in our college community. You've just met the examiners, so you maybe don't want to go and join their ranks just yet. But as educators, as people who can pass on the skills you've learned in our clinical skills labs, who can perhaps teach others about leadership or some other aspect of professional practice, all of those roles are available to you. We have a very active Trainee Doctors Committee, which just a couple of hours ago we've agreed to change the name of, thanks to the representation of the College Council of Trainee Doctors, to the Royal College of Physicians and Surgeons of Glasgow Resident Doctors Committee, because that name change has happened throughout the UK in acknowledgement of the fact that the term junior doctor is somewhat disparaging for somebody who's in their mid-30s and is a professional expert. So, Resident Doctors Committee for those of you who are trainees. SAS and locally employed doctors' committees, so many different roles. Involve yourself in our policy networks, because getting connected with the college might be a good thing for all of you to do or to consider doing. And that's because connection is one of the key principles of well-being. I hope you saw downstairs these booklets. They used to be much smaller and fitted into my jacket pocket a great deal more easily, but they've now got a bit bigger. The Little Journal of Wellbeing. And I would encourage many of you and any of you to take these home, including mums and dads and brothers and sisters at the back, because as a nation, our well-being is not terribly good at the moment. Part of that is COVID and the impact of that. Part of it is perhaps social media. Part of it is maybe screen time. It's multifactorial, isn't it? But when we look at what we used to call anxiety and depression, what we these days call common mental health disorder, the background figure for that was usually somewhere about 15 or 20%, but that's doubled. We're looking at 35 to 20% of our UK population suffering from common mental health disorder, not needing to go and see anybody, but struggling in their lives. If we look at NHS staff as we come out of COVID, maybe a third of them had demonstrable post-traumatic stress disorder. They were really exhibiting behaviours of distress by what they'd come through. And that figure hasn't come all the way back down to normal as yet. And maybe a quarter of all the NHS staff in the UK are in some way abusing drugs or alcohol, which is an extraordinary figure. So we want you in your clinical practice, wherever you might be practicing, whether in the UK or out with these islands, we want you to look after your well-being. And connection's a really important part of that. Running through all of these recommendations are these 5 key themes that I want you to bear in mind as you leave us this evening. Connection, some of that will be with the family and friends at the back here. Some of that will be with your colleagues and others you're working with just now. Some of that might be with faith groups. It might be with all sorts of things, but stay connected to other people. The US Surgeon General estimated in 2020 that loneliness, which is the subjective feeling, not demonstrable, but feeling that you are alone. Loneliness is the same impact on your health as smoking 10 cigarettes a day. And none of us would recommend to anybody smoking 10 cigarettes a day. So stay connected to other people. Another important key theme which we share with you is to be active. Always difficult in any busy life to find time to go to the gym or to go for a walk or to play a game of tennis, whatever it might be, but be active, be physically active. That is very important for our mental health. And the third one is a slightly more difficult concept, to be present, to think about now, and to take notice of what we're doing right now. As human beings, we tend to want to dwell on the past and what happened and difficult situations. I was clearing out my office in the hospital in Paisley, where I've been working as a consultant for the last 27 years, 2 weeks ago. And I pulled out files from filing cabinets of things that were tremendously important in 2012 and 2014. They were of no great importance. They're no importance now. And we need to learn how to leave behind the past and not unduly make plans for a future, because the future is very uncertain. Enjoy being here right now, in the present, right now, tonight in this college hall, at this moment of celebration. Tonight when you're with your families and friends. Tomorrow when you're at work. Enjoy being in the moment, to be present right now. And a fourth key part of well-being, which I'm sorry to share with you, is learning. So you've got to keep learning. And that's hard. Medical knowledge speeds up and races ahead. 1950, a great slide I saw at a meeting earlier this year that Professor Abby Rani and Professor Hani Atiba and I attended in California, which was the speed of medical knowledge. In 1950, it's estimated it took 50 years for medical knowledge to double in size. By 1980, that was 7 years. And by 2020, it was 73 days. So what you learned to pass these exams, so you're going to have to keep up to date. But don't just learn about medicine and surgery and dentistry and travel medicine, very important though those things are. Learn about other things that will sustain you in your careers. Develop hobbies and interests. Learn about anything that will pique your interest and keep your interest. Don't just read medical journals, read novels and plays and poetry. Try and sustain yourself by your learning. And the last of these 5 principles that I want you to bear in mind is to give. Now that's very hard, because I've already told you that everybody's given too much and they're feeling a bit worn out and their mental health isn't great. And indeed, medicine and surgery and dentistry and travel medicine, podiatric medicine, all of our specialties really do take their toll on you. And that's why we're thinking about your well-being in the college. Because it's really hard to keep giving to patients. It's really hard at the end of a tiring day or night shift to keep on being empathic, to keep on being kind. But I'm being very clear with you now, you have to do that. And you have to do that for yourselves, because you will be sustained by giving. You will be sustained by that effort to keep on giving the very best of yourself. And tonight in this ceremony, right at the very beginning, we gave you a great example of giving in Mark Allison, who has served our college through the last 10 years, voluntarily advising us, not just about accountancy and audit, and the financial aspect of running the college, but in all sorts of other ways to improve the governance of our college, to improve our relationship with you as members and fellows. He has given absolutely freely of his time for a decade, while still having that stellar career in accountancy that Richard Hull outlined to you in Mark's citation. So let that be an example that you might not necessarily want to give all that you have to give in medicine or surgery or dentistry and healthcare. You might want to find another field in which you can contribute, in which you have expertise, in which you have capacity, and will use your talents to the very best of your abilities. But all of you who are healthcare professionals have a unique opportunity every day you go to work to give to other people. And so we ask you, for your health, as well as for the good health of your patients, to give of yourselves, because you will be sustained by that. And that in that moment, when the patient or you are alone in a room, you can be the very best doctor, the very best dentist, the very best expert in travel medicine or podiatric medicine that you can be. And that's my plea to you this evening. Stay connected to our wonderful college. Continue with your wonderful careers. You deserve our applause this evening, and we have given you that, as we have given it to your families and friends, and we hope you enjoy the rest of the evening with us, and we hope you have long, happy, wonderful careers in healthcare. Thank you.